Alright, YouTube, what's going on? So, there's another topic that I wanted to discuss today with regards to colonialism and so forth. It basically concerns the country in South America that I don't recall ever talking about on this channel. I may have in a reference to another topic in a video like way back in the day, but it's regarding the country of Suriname in South America. It's basically one of the colonial nations that was colonized by one of the big powers, like back like centuries ago. The Suriname was a former Dutch colony, just like the country of Guyana is an English/British colony, and then French Guyana, or Guyana, I think you pronounce it either Guyana or Guyana, it doesn't fucking matter. And then French Guiana is basically a country was ruled by France. Well, actually, French Guiana is a French overseas territory, but Guyana and the Netherlands have their own laws. So the country of Suriname is interesting to me, and the whole like history regarding the Netherlands and Suriname is interesting to me. And I've done a little bit of research on this. And of course, with my first day off from work over the weekend, which I'm like so happy to get, y'all know how much I value my Mondays, my first day off after those 2 shifts. I do nothing but I just chill, sit back, relax, and just do my thing, because that's just what I do. But I read some interesting news about Suriname, and apparently their former president, who by the name of Dési Bouterse, was a drug lord and was a coup monger and was responsible for all sorts of massacres, drug trafficking, and so forth. And it was almost to the point where the Netherlands was on the verge of invading Suriname in 1986. Oh, wow. Huh. So I guess the Netherlands wanted to invade them. Wow, how interesting. And obviously I'd be opposed to that as much as I am a big fan of European nations, especially like countries like the Netherlands and Norway, Sweden, and Finland and so forth. I would be against Suriname being invaded by the Netherlands, but hey, that's just me. Unless there was like an imminent attack or something along those lines. He was responsible for a coup that he staged in 1980, which was the Sergeant's coup, and had 15 political opponents killed in the December killings, and establishing a dictatorship with a puppet government. Sounds a lot like U.S. hegemony and imperialism in South America and the Caribbean, but that's a whole nother topic altogether. And there was a Suriname military prosecutor who demanded a 20-year jail term for Dési Bouterse. He was convicted in absentia by a court in the Netherlands in 1999 and was wanted for drug trafficking and got an 11-year sentence, and he was charged with the December murders in 2007. And he became president, was immune from prosecution, and he got back into power. Then the Netherlands basically broke ties with the Surinamese government and stated that they didn't want him in the Netherlands. He wasn't allowed in the Netherlands. And then when he was attending the funeral of South Africa's former president, leader, and peacemaker Nelson Mandela, the Netherlands wanted Bouterse arrested. So I can understand where the Dutch are coming from, considering that this guy really sounds like a scumbag and a piece of shit all around. And it's no surprise that the Netherlands wanted to get back at this guy, because this guy was a piece of shit. And apparently stepped down from power in 2020, and now Suriname has a new president now. And I guess apparently Dési's out of power now. The president, I guess he's out of power now, and he is wanted by the EU, I think, or he's wanted by probably Interpol. He's wanted on a whole bunch of different warrants and everything else. So yeah, the guy is in a load of trouble. So now they have a new president. They've had a president new since the 2020 elections, and obviously Suriname returning to democracy. after being under a military dictatorship and so forth. So yeah, Dési doesn't sound like a good guy. He's Europol and Interpol wanted him on an arrest warrant. WikiLeaks cables released in 2011 found that he was active in the drug trade. Yeah, was involved in the drug trade. So you can see why the Netherlands wanted him arrested. And if he leaves Suriname at any point, he'll basically be arrested. He'll essentially be arrested. And this is what happens with all these colonial nations. I mean, this is what happens when you have like countries that colonize you and so forth, because you know how. And then they're independent now. So it's you guys all know my stances on American imperialism, and you know my stances on all this type of stuff. And I try to take it in the most unbiased way possible. But yeah, these are nations that were colonized by big powers, and to this day, they're still very poor. They're rife with corruption, and they're rife with all sorts of different things. Like they're infested with religious fundamentalism and Christian fundamentalism. Like Guyana is rife with corruption and Christian fundamentalism and so forth. They gained independence in 1966. Their founding father, Chetty Jagnan, was actually widely considered a socialist, and Winston Churchill wanted to go after him. The CIA wanted to go after him to basically establish their own puppet government in Guyana, and also to probably establish their own puppet government in Suriname. Well, they had that for a while, especially with this guy that was wanted in the Netherlands for murders and other crimes he committed and drug trafficking. So yeah, this is he's responsible for all sorts of human rights violations and everything else. So not a good guy whatsoever. Yeah, definitely not a good guy, and he's basically out of power, and I guess he's just kind of just staying in hiding, and he doesn't want to and I guess he's just not anywhere. He basically is just retired, and I guess he went to prison or something along those lines. I think a military court convicted him and sentenced him to 20 years in prison, and he tried to appeal the decision in 2020, and then he later stepped down later that year. So if he leaves, he risks arrest if he leaves Suriname. So I guess he's under like lifelong house arrest, I would imagine. So yeah, this is what happens with colonialism. Colonialism is pretty fucked up. I mean, you see what colonial powers have done to small nations and things like that. And this is just a perfect example of it. And this is what the English did. This is basically what the Dutch did, and so on. So now the Netherlands, with their now one of their former colonies, apparently they wanted to arrest a president in one of their former colonies, and you can understand why. Basically, because it's just. Yeah, because also the Netherlands is home to the International Criminal Court and a lot of international courts of justice and so forth. So there's all sorts of different reasons as to why they'd want to prosecute this guy, for a lot of different reasons. The International Criminal Court could easily do so in a heartbeat the minute this guy leaves Suriname borders. So this is one of the reasons why, like, Papua New Guinea that's a perfect example. Papua New Guinea is a perfect example of colonialism as well. Like they're also another perfect example of this. A Commonwealth nation that's rife with poverty and shit like that. So yeah, this is what. But so you hear all fucking day long from these fucking these politicians that want to bitch and moan about Cuba and Venezuela all day, but they fail to pay attention to countries like this that are rife with corruption, rife with religious fundamentalism, and there's there's all this stuff. You don't hear any of this from the media. You don't hear any of this stuff because they don't want to admit that what they did with their colonial powers back in the day, that they don't want to admit what they fucking did. They don't want to admit it whatsoever. You think that they want to admit it? No, they actually don't. And Papua New Guinea was controlled by Australia until, what was it, 1949 or something? So colonialism's interesting, but it's really fucked up. And this is where modern day Christianity has come from. It's come from fucking colonial powers. It's basically come from colonial powers that basically indoctrinated this shit into generation upon generation upon generation, leading to homophobic societies and corrupt societies. So this is exactly the reason why. And this is what religious fundamentalism is in a nutshell. And this is what we've got even to some extent in the United States. And these countries are doing basically the same fucking thing. I mean, although maybe to a lesser extent, but they don't get any coverage because the US and all these parts of the US are always in the fucking spotlight. But these places, like these small countries, like these small countries, these countries that were under like Dutch colonialism and Australian colonialism and English colonialism, rarely get that much coverage, and that's why I want to discuss it, because of that. And it's important to talk about it because this is what religious fundamentalism is. Religious fundamentalism is shit. Okay, religious indoctrination is shit. And I've said that on numerous occasions, but I also believe in the freedom to believe in whatever fucking religion you want. If you want to believe in Anglo-Saxon style Christianity, go right the fuck ahead. You want to believe in Islam, go ahead and believe it. Like, you can believe in whatever religion you want. It's as simple as that. But this is the facts. This is the information that is before me. And this is what I have. And this is stuff that the media is never going to talk about. Even though these countries do the exact same fucking thing that you see in the US and that you see in Africa, where all these people are, where people are getting stoned and witches are getting stoned and gays are being burned at the stake and shit like that. And Suriname isn't as homophobic as Guyana is. I mean, Guyana still has buggery laws on their books, which says that people who basically commit buggery get life in prison, which is an old colonial law. Now, obviously, Suriname doesn't have anti-gay laws, but this is what happens. This is what British colonialism has done, and this is where all the homophobia comes from. It came from the British. It actually came from the British. It didn't come from the Dutch. It came from the English. It came from the British. It came from the old buggery laws, the old sodomy laws, and so on and so forth. That's where it all came from. This is where all of this stuff has came from. So is sodomy and buggery your biggest problems when corruption and religious fundamentalism and indoctrinating children and all that and indoctrinating generation to generation? That's not a problem, right? But all the gays having sex, that's a problem, right? It's fucking crazy. So obviously this didn't come from the Dutch. The Dutch didn't do it. I mean, all these countries that were under the Dutch. I mean, Suriname doesn't have any anti-gay laws. At least I don't think so. Aruba doesn't, and any other country that was under Dutch colonialism doesn't either. So where does homophobia come from? It comes from the English. It comes from the old buggery laws. It comes from all that type of stuff. And lo and behold, the Christians that want to bitch about Islam all fucking day, and I'm not defending Islam because Islam is just as shit as Christianity is. And Islam is a form of Christianity, just so you know. So yeah, there's basically a few history lessons provided on this channel. It's basically just a little bit of that I wanted to provide for you guys today about Dutch colonialism and English colonialism and the history between the Netherlands and Suriname and their puppet government and their former president, who is at risk of arrest as soon as he leaves Suriname borders. And the whole situation is just really fucked up. I thought it was really interesting, and hence why I wanted to talk about it with you guys today. You learn something new every day, and I learned something new, and I wanted to share it with you guys so you all could take it and digest it, and all the information is for you guys to learn. on my behalf. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here because I got to go pick up Steven soon. And thank you all for listening. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll link all these in the description to the best of my ability. But I'll see you all again soon. I'll probably do some more videos sometime this week. Stay tuned for more stuff on the way. This is Zach the Celtics guy saying thank you for watching. See you all again in the next video, stream, premiere, whatever it happens to be. I'll catch you all again in the next video, stream, or premiere coming your way soon, and a whole bunch of other shit in the works. Stay tuned. Stay safe, be well, and always just know your history. The people who don't know their history are bound to repeat it, because the history of a lot of these different places is just really fucked up. Peace out.